No one wanted the job. The alien space station was full of smart creatures from every corner of the galaxy. Scientists, pilots, engineers, warriors. But one man, a human, had the lowest job of all. He cleaned the poop stable of alien dragons. The smell was terrible. The floor was sticky. The air was thick with heat and smoke. Every time the janitor entered, he had to tie 2 thick rags around his face just to breathe. He wore 3 layers of clothes and heavy boots. Even then, the stench reached his skin, his hair, and his bones. The other workers laughed at him. Aliens made fun of him in their languages. Some pointed, some whispered, "There goes the poop janitor, human garbage cleaner." But he never replied. He just pushed his cart, filled with buckets, brushes, and chemical soaps, and walked into the dragon stable like it was normal. The stable was huge, built from heat-resistant stone. Tall metal gates separated each dragon from the others. Inside, glowing dragons lay on stone floors, breathing smoke and fire as they slept or growled. No one wanted to go near them. They were dangerous. One swipe of their tail could break bones. One angry roar could burn through metal walls. But the human janitor entered every day without fear. He didn't talk much. He didn't dream big. His name wasn't known to anyone on the station. To most, he was just the cleaner. But inside, the janitor remembered. He remembered Earth before it was ruined. He remembered green forests, warm rain, and the sound of birds. Remembered his family gone in the last human war. He remembered his dream of flying ships, of being a hero. But dreams didn't feed you. Dreams didn't protect you when your planet was dust. So he took the job, the only one aliens would give him. Cleaning dragon poop. Each day he cleaned with care. He washed every corner. He scrubbed the burned stone, refilled the water tanks for the dragons. He made sure the place didn't stink worse than it already did. He never rushed. He never skipped work. Even when he was sick, he showed up, and the dragons. They didn't care. They looked at him like he was a bug. Some even growled when he got too close. One had nearly crushed his leg with its tail, but he didn't blame them. He understood pain. He understood being trapped. Still, he worked. Then, one day, something strange happened. The janitor pushed his cart into the stable like always. But one of the dragons, small compared to the others, was lying on its side, not moving. It had shiny silver horns and deep green scales. It was young, too young to die. The janitor noticed thick slime dripping from its mouth. Its breathing was rough and shaky. The other dragons had backed away from it, giving it space. Dragons didn't help their sick. They left them to die. The janitor dropped his mop and ran to the sick dragon. "Hey," he said softly, though he knew it couldn't understand him. "You okay?" The dragon gave a soft, weak growl. Its eyes opened just a little. It looked at him not with hate but with pain. The janitor didn't know what to do. He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't a vet. He was just a cleaner. But he couldn't walk away. He kneeled beside the dragon and put a hand on its burning hot side. "I won't leave you," he whispered. Not like everyone else. Didn't know it yet. But that choice, that moment would change his life forever. The janitor stood beside the sick young dragon. Its silver horns were dull. Its green scales had turned pale and dry. Thick slime dripped from its mouth. Its breathing was slow and shaky, like wind through a broken pipe. It looked close to death. The other dragons stayed far away. They growled softly, their eyes cold. In dragon culture, the weak were often ignored. No help, no care. Only survival. But the janitor was human. He couldn't leave anything sick to die. Alone, not even a dragon. He pulled off one of his gloves and gently touched the dragon's side. It was hot. Burning hot. Almost like fire under the skin. "You're not doing well, buddy," he said softly. The dragon's eyes opened for a second. Just a flicker, but it saw him, and it didn't attack. The janitor took a deep breath and stood up. He rushed to the small storage room where he kept his cleaning supplies. Inside, hidden under broken pipes and old parts, he had a tool he never thought he'd need again. An old alien medical scanner. He had found it in the trash years ago. It was broken, dirty, and useless. But over time, the janitor fixed it. Not because he needed it, but because he liked fixing things in his spare time. Now, he turned it on. The screen flickered. The scanner beeped slowly. He returned to the dragon and waved the device over its chest, head, and stomach.
Aye.
After a moment, the screen blinked. Toxic gas detected in lungs. Internal infection. Body temperature unstable. The janitor frowned. Poison gas? Infection? No wonder the dragon was dying. He thought hard. He wasn't a doctor, he wasn't trained. But he had cleaned up after dragons for years. He had seen what they ate, how they slept, how they acted when healthy and sick. This was something new. Maybe the dragon had breathed in gas from a nearby vent. Maybe it had eaten something spoiled. He looked around the stable. One corner had broken pipes. Green smoke was leaking slowly. The janitor's eyes narrowed. "That's it," he whispered. He ran to the control room and shut off the gas valve. Then he returned to the dragon and opened a fresh tank of oxygen. He used to clean burnt spots. He gently placed the oxygen tube near the dragon's mouth. "Breathe, big guy," he whispered. The dragon's body twitched. A slow breath, then another. The janitor sat beside it and cleaned the slime. From its face, with a soft cloth, he brought water. He poured a small amount into its mouth. At first, the dragon didn't drink, then it swallowed. That night, the janitor didn't leave the stable. He stayed beside the sick dragon. He brought warm lights to calm the cold air. He made a bed of dry cloth and blankets. He checked the dragon's breathing every hour. The stable was quiet. Only the sound of soft growls and distant fire remained. By morning, the dragon moved a little. His tail shifted. Its eyes opened longer this time. "You're a fighter," the janitor smiled. Outside the stable, the alien workers had started whispering. "Why is the human still in there? Heard he's trying to help the dragon." Foolish dragons. Don't care about janitors, but the janitor didn't care what anyone thought. He didn't need a medal. He didn't need praise. All he needed was to help something that couldn't help itself. He looked into the dragon's tired eyes and said, "Don't worry, I've cleaned your poop for years. Taking care of you now isn't that much harder." For the first time in his life, the janitor saw something new in a dragon's eyes. Not anger, not fear, not hate, just respect. The janitor's routine had changed. Before he just cleaned. Now he was also a nurse, a helper, and maybe even a friend. Each day he spent extra hours beside the sick silver-horned dragon, wiped its face, cooled its body, sometimes just sat beside it in silence. He didn't know why he cared so much. Maybe because, like him, the dragon was alone. Maybe because no one else cared. Or maybe, deep inside, he believed that kindness could do more than medicine. Soon, the dragon began to move its neck. Its breathing became stronger. It even gave short, low rumbles. When the janitor approached sounds that almost felt like greetings, the janitor smiled every time. "Yeah, I hear you, buddy." But outside the stable, whispers began. The alien guards noticed the janitor was spending long hours with the sick dragon. "He's wasting time." One said, "Dragons heal on their own, nor they die," said another. "I heard he touched it. Isn't that dangerous?" One morning, a tall, sharp-faced alien in a silver robe entered the stable. His name was Valor. He was a high-ranking official and hated humans. He walked straight to the janitor and crossed his arms. "What are you doing here, human?" The janitor looked up. "Taking care of the dragon." Valor's eyes narrowed. "That beast is useless. Now it should have been removed, burned, and yet you protect it." The janitor stood slowly, wiped sweat from his forehead, and said calmly, "It's not useless. It's sick. That's all." Valor laughed coldly. "And you think you can? Save it? You're just a mop boy." "I know filth when I see it," the janitor said quietly, "and I clean it to heaven when no one else will." Valor frowned. "You'll regret this." But the janitor didn't flinch. He returned to the dragon, gently feeding it water through. A long spoon. That night, as stars blinked outside the stable's small window, something happened. The dragon lifted its head. Not for long. Just a few seconds. But it looked directly at the janitor and made a soft, deep sound that vibrated in the floor. The janitor blinked. "You're really coming back, aren't you?" He laughed, but his eyes watered. He reached out and touched the side of the dragon's face, just under the eye. The dragon didn't pull away. Instead, it leaned into his hand. Outside, the alien workers watching through the small security camera gasped. "Did you see that? It let him touch it?" The dragons never allow that. By morning, the whole station had heard the human janitor, the one who cleaned poop, had bonded with a dragon. Some aliens refused to believe it. Lies. Trick of the cameras. But others began to wonder. The station commander, an old beetle-like alien, watched the footage 3 times. "That dragon trusts him," the commander said slowly. "That's not something you fake." He ordered the stable not to be disturbed. Inside the stable, the janitor placed a soft blanket over the dragon's back. He fixed the broken pipes in the corner and sprayed herbs to remove the gas. He even brought a heat lamp to warm the dragon's resting place. "Rest, friend," he said. "You're not alone anymore." The dragon's tail gave a small thump. Not a warning. "Thank you." The janitor sat down beside it again, looked out the window at the stars, and whispered, "I used to dream of flying, but maybe this is better." The silver-horned dragon was healing. Each day, it stood a little longer. Its eyes grew brighter. Its scales slowly returned to their glowing green color. It still didn't roar or fly, but it was alive, and it was watching the janitor with new eyes. When the janitor entered the stable now, the dragon lifted its head. When he spoke, it rumbled softly in reply. It even started following him with its eyes, as if waiting for him. The janitor didn't say much, just smiled, gave it water, and did his work like always. Still cleaned the other dragon pens too. Still scrubbed the floors, scooped the poop, and washed the feeding trays. But everything had changed. The other dragons had stopped growling at him. Now, they simply stared. One even flicked its tail gently as he passed a quiet sign of acceptance. The janitor didn't notice how different he had. It's become in the eyes of the station. But everyone else did. Alien workers paused in the halls when he walked by. Some no longer laughed. Some even stepped aside to give him space. Is he really the one who saved the dragon? They say the beast trusts him. Impossible. But it's true. One afternoon, as the janitor mopped the stone floor near the dragon's pen, the space station's alarm buzzed 3 times. That sound only meant one thing: emergency visitor arrival. Within minutes, high officers and guards filled the halls. Everyone stood straight, silent, nervous. Then they arrived. A group of 5 enormous alien dragons entered floating down from their ship in a fire-lit hover platform. Their scales shimmered gold, red, and deep blue. They wore heavy armor, and rings on their tails symbols of royal blood. They were dragon nobles. No one spoke. Even the commander of the station bowed. But the dragons didn't speak to the officers. They walked directly to the stable. The janitor stood frozen when they entered. He dropped his mop and stepped back. His heart raced. These dragons were nothing, like the ones he cleaned after. Their size and presence made the ground shake. But they didn't roar. They walked slowly past the cages until they reached the silver-horned dragon. The young one lifted its head. It made a deep, soft sound. One of the nobles stepped forward and touched its face gently with his horn. Then something amazing happened. The silver-horned dragon pointed its tail at the janitor. The noble dragons all turned to look at the human. The janitor's mouth went dry. "What did I do?" he whispered. The eldest dragon stepped forward. It was taller than a truck, and its eyes glowed with deep orange light. It lowered its head and looked at the janitor closely. Then it spoke in clear, slow words. "You are the one." The janitor blinked. The one who showed care, who gave warmth. "Cleaned not just filth, but sickness," the dragon said. "You touched fire and it did not burn you. I just helped, the janitor said, confused. You did. More than help, the dragon replied. You earned trust, and that is a gift even kings fail to receive. One of the guards stepped forward and whispered to the station commander, He's being chosen. The commander's jaw dropped. Chosen by a dragonflight? The old dragon stepped back and said in a deep voice that echoed in the halls, This human now belongs to the House of Flame. From this moment forward, he is under our protection. Gasps filled the room. Even the janitor couldn't believe what he was hearing. He looked at the silver-horned dragon, who gave a slow, proud blink. The janitor took a breath. He didn't know what came next, but something deep inside him whispered, Your real life is just beginning. The janitor stood in silence. He didn't understand what just happened. 1 minute he was cleaning dragon poop like every other day. The next, a royal dragon was calling him chosen and saying he now belonged to the House of Flame. No human had ever been accepted by a dragonflight. Not in any galaxy, not in any history. The silver-horned dragon stood proudly behind him. No longer weak or sick, it had fully recovered. Its green scales now shined like fresh leaves after rain. Its eyes glowed with strength and something else, loyalty. The oldest dragon noble walked forward again. This time it carried something. In its large claw, a glowing, red-ringed orb, the size of a football. It pulsed like a living heart and gave off soft heat. All the aliens watching fell silent. The bond flame. One of them whispered. The janitor didn't know what it was, but the dragons did. The noble lowered the orb toward the human and said, in a deep, calm voice, This is a gift only given once in a dragon's life. A piece of our soul. A sign of eternal trust. The janitor stepped back. I don't understand. No, the dragon replied. You are more. You saw a life fading in. You chose to act. Not for reward, not for fame, but for kindness. The silver-horned dragon moved beside him and gently pushed the orb forward with its nose. The janitor slowly reached out with both hands. As soon as he touched the orb, it lit up. Flames danced inside it, bright but warm. They didn't burn him. Instead, he felt something strange. A heartbeat that wasn't his. A soft voice in his mind. A wave of peace through his chest. Then the orb vanished, melted into his skin like smoke. A small mark appeared on his hand. A dragon symbol glowing faintly. Everyone around him gasped again. He carries the flame bond, an alien whispered. He is one of them now. The janitor looked down at his hand, confused, amazed, and a little scared. What? What happens? Now, he asked. The noble dragon bowed its giant head. You are no longer a worker, it said. You are a flame brother. Wherever dragons go, you will be welcome. No one can harm you. No one can command you. You have earned your place. The station commander stepped forward quickly. With all respect honored dragons, he still works. Here, he has duties. Cleaning. Waste removal. The silver-horned dragon suddenly roared. The sound shook the metal walls. The lights flickered. The commander fell silent. The janitor slowly turned to the noble dragon and said, But what about my job? The stables still need cleaning. The noble dragon smiled with his eyes. If you still wish to clean, you may. But now you do it as our equal, not as a servant. Then, with a nod, the royal dragons turned and walked away, their giant wings folding behind them. But before leaving, the silver-horned dragon did something unexpected. It bowed its head to the janitor. A full bow, a dragon bowing to a human. Everyone saw it, no. One laughed anymore that night. The janitor sat alone near the stable window. The stars outside looked brighter somehow. The silver-horned dragon lay beside him, curled up like a loyal dog, its tail resting near his feet. The janitor looked at his marked hand. I didn't ask for this, he whispered, but maybe I was meant for it. And for the first time in years, he smiled not just from the outside, but from deep within. He wasn't just a janitor anymore. He was something more, something powerful, something legendary. Everything had changed. The man who once cleaned poop with a mop and bucket was now known across the space station as the Flame Brother. Guards saluted him when he passed. Aliens who once laughed at him now looked away in shame or bowed in respect. He was given a new uniform, dark red, with a golden flame on the chest. It wasn't fancy, but it was clean, comfortable, and respected. His old cleaning closet now turned into a private room with soft lights, clean air, and a real bed. But the janitor didn't let fame change him. Every morning, he still woke up early. He still checked on the dragons. He still walked into the stable with his mop, even though he didn't have to. When asked why, he smiled and said, "They trusted me when I was no one. I won't forget that." Groan was always near him. It followed him like a silent shadow, calm and alert. It listened to his voice, responded to his hand gestures, and sometimes even rested its giant head on the janitor's lap. The bond between them was real, deep, unbreakable. Soon he began training with dragon handlers not as a student, but as a partner. They taught him how to fly in dragon formations, how to read their body language, and how to connect using mind signals to everyone's shock. The janitor learned fast. One trainer said, "It's like he's always been one of them, the station." Commander even gave him a new title, Dragon Keeper of Sector 9. Now, other humans and aliens came to him for advice. How did you earn their trust? Can you speak with them? Can you teach us? He never acted proud. He just answered kindly. One day during his regular walk through the stable, a young human cleaner approached him. The boy looked nervous, holding a small mop and shaking in his boots. "Sir," the boy said, I'm the new poop cleaner." The janitor smiled and patted the boy's shoulder. "Good," he said. "The job matters. Don't ever forget that." The boy blinked. "But isn't it low work?" The janitor pointed to the sleeping silver-horned dragon beside them. "That dragon was dying in this very room," he said, "and everyone left it. Everyone but me." The boy nodded slowly. Later that day, the janitor sat near the window again. The same one he used to stare through when life felt hopeless. Now, instead of sadness, he saw the stars with wonder. Suddenly, a message came through his new communicator. A dragon elder's voice spoke in his ear. "Flame Brother, your presence is requested on the dragon homeworld. The High Flight wishes to meet you." He blinked in surprise. "The dragon homeworld?" he whispered. That place was sacred. No human had ever been invited there. He stood, looked at his dragon friend and whispered, "Looks like our journey isn't over yet." The silver-horned dragon growled gently like it already knew. The next day, a fire-sailed ship arrived. It was unlike anything the janitor had ever seen floating. With no engines, powered only by dragon flame and mind energy. Only a few beings had ever ridden on one. As he stepped onto the ship, the station gathered to watch. Aliens, guards, workers, even the commander, no one spoke. But their eyes said everything. Respect, honor, amazement. The janitor turned one last time, holding his old mop like a memory. Then he boarded the ship with the silver-horned dragon beside him. Together, they rose into the stars, heading toward a world he never imagined he'd see. And deep in his heart, he knew this was only the beginning. The fire-sailed ship glided through space like a glowing comet. The janitor stood near the edge of the platform, holding onto a silver rail. The stars passed slowly, and the silence around him felt peaceful. Beside him, the silver-horned dragon rested calmly, its eyes half closed, but always alert. He still couldn't believe this was real. Just months ago, he was a nobody, just a janitor cleaning dragon poop, ignored and laughed at. Now he was on his way to the dragon homeworld. Invited by the High Flight, the oldest and most powerful dragons in the galaxy, the ship entered a glowing red gate in space. Heat washed over the deck like a soft wind. Moments later, a planet came into view. It was covered in tall black mountains, rivers of golden lava, and skies filled with flying dragons. Firestorms danced in the distance, and the clouds glowed orange. Drakevere, the home of dragons. The ship landed on a floating stone platform surrounded by lava waterfalls. Ancient dragons waited in a circle, their scales shining like jewels. Some had 6 wings, others had horns like trees. Their eyes held centuries of wisdom. As the janitor stepped off the ship, every dragon bowed their head. He paused, unsure. "Should I bow back?" The silver-horned dragon growled softly and nudged him forward. A deep voice echoed across the stone. "Welcome, Flame Brother. We have watched you." The largest dragon stepped forward. Its wings spread wide and its voice shook the ground. You showed mercy when others turned away. You acted not from power but from heart. And through that, you awakened a truth we had forgotten. The janitor lowered his eyes. "I just helped a friend." "And that," the dragon said, "is why we honor you." Suddenly, a large circle of dragons began to chant in their ancient language. A glowing platform rose from the center of the gathering. Atop it was a new suit-lightweight armor made from silver scales, soft red cloth, and gold-trimmed boots. It shimmered like flame, but felt like air. The janitor looked confused. "What is this?" "Proud note," the elder dragon answered. "This is the armor of a Dragon Keeper King, a title only given once in 1,000 years. Belongs to the one chosen not by dragons, but by the flame itself." The janitor was speechless. "You want me to be your leader, not our ruler?" the dragon said. "Our guide, our voice. Reminder of what matters?" With slow steps, he walked up the platform and touched the armor. It wrapped around him gently, fitting perfectly. Suddenly, he didn't feel like a janitor anymore. He felt like someone who mattered. A voice whispered in his heart. Was the silver-horned dragon's mind. "We trust you. Lead us not with command, but with care, like you always have." Tears filled the janitor's eyes. All his life he had been ignored, laughed at, forgotten, but now he had a home, a family. Later that night, he stood on a high ledge, looking at the skies of Drakefyr. Dragons flew in circles around the lava towers. Fire painted the sky in red and gold. The silver-horned dragon stood beside him, strong and loyal. "I never wanted a crown," the janitor whispered, "but I'm glad it found me." He looked at his glowing hand, the mark of the bond flame still shining. He didn't need medals. He didn't need gold. He had earned something bigger. Respect. Love. Legacy. From the lowest job in the galaxy to a seat among dragons, and it all started because one man chose to care when no one else did. The end.